Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, and I'm joined joyfully by a very present Anthony Ray Bench.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. And I am your present because I didn't get you shit this year.
That's okay. That's okay. What I mean by present is you've been on some episodes, you have been on some episodes. That's okay. The great thing is the Film Threat family is now gathered around, well, we don't have a fire. I'm sure we could put one on the television. But
you know what you should do?
Yes?
You should put on the video of Darth Vader's corpse burning.
Yes, that was at my... Okay, good.
Yeah, I do that
We are
every
going
year.
to do that. That was at my last Christmas party a couple of years ago. Played that video. It plays for like 12 hours. It's great. But not only that, what I did was I put it on every single TV, including like an iPad that was in my bathroom.
That's
so
overkill.
Kind of felt like... Yes, it was overkill, but that's what I like. Well, hey... happy holidays to everyone listening to this. It's the holiday season for you, I'm sure, as you're hearing this. We have seen a lot of movies. One thing Anthony and I have not been able to do is actually talk about movies because we've been so embroiled with so many great interviews. I mean, this year, I'm really proud. We talked to John C. Reilly.
Ike Barinholtz.
We had so many good interviews. Abby Epstein, the Weed the People, I thought was a really good interview. We just had some really good interviews with filmmakers and a lot more coming in 2019. But we haven't really had an opportunity to talk about film. I thought, you know what? We're having a Film Threat Christmas party, holiday party, whatever you want to call it. And we're basically just an excuse for all of us to get together and drink. We're just going to drink and talk about movies, which is what
really
we
need an excuse to do that.
Yeah, I know, which is what we normally do. So before we get to that, just real quick, hey, follow us. We're Film Threat on everything. Read the Film Threat website, which will be updated through the holidays every day. If you're bored at your family gatherings, and I know not every family gathering is a home run. Sometimes they can be terrible. That is a good time to look at your phone and check out all the new reviews and whatnot on filmthreat.com. Also, support us by following us on social media, checking out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/filmthreat. Hey, would it be a Film Threat party without the cops showing up?
Are they here to shut down our party already?
I hope so. That happened. There's a story that happened one year. It was kind of crazy.
I think I've heard this story before, but go ahead.
It was when I lived off Melrose, and we had like this insane party that had a carnival dunk tank. And Tarantino, this is true. Tarantino was at that party. It was like just crazy. Scott Spiegel, a bunch of people I know from the world of indie film at the time when I first moved to Los Angeles in the 90s, and it was a blast. So, but this is our own Christmas gathering here. I want to talk about everyone's favorite movies that they've seen this year, and I'll start, Anthony, with yourself. What have been, and you just got out of a screening of Aquaman.
Yeah.
So maybe we should both talk about Aquaman because I'm in two minds about Aquaman.
2 minds?
Okay, wait. We should introduce to the podcast. Dante James is here, everybody. Say hello, Dante.
Hey guys, I'm back. Had to take a little sabbatical for a while, but I'm happy to be back. And I have been to a lot of holiday parties over the past couple of weeks, but this is the one I'm most excited about because it's people I actually like.
Oh wow! Well,
thank you.
Well, thank you for that. Dante. Also, you're gonna, if you've not read Dante's reviews on filmthreat.com, you got to check out his stuff. Dante is also part of the team that will be joining. Well, there's like 8 of us. We're all going to the Sundance Film Festival. We're going to be covering movies. We're doing a daily podcast, and we're doing a lot of interviews with filmmakers. It's gonna be fun. So, Dante, I know we've all seen. I want to get what people's favorite movies are. But Anthony, you just saw a screening of Aquaman. I saw it as well. My Aquaman review is on the Film Threat website.
Yeah, no spoilers for Dante.
Yeah, if you can talk about it. But if there's any way to avoid spoilers, please avoid them because I'm seeing it on Christmas Day with a bunch of people. So
okay. We no spoilers. But what did you think?
I think it's a straight up comic book movie.
Right.
It's cheap. It's
in a good way.
Yeah. It's cheesy. You can turn your mind off and enjoy it. Special effects a little wonky at places, but Jason Momoa is so likable.
Yeah, he's fun.
And Amber Heard made a great Mara.
I'm in two minds about it.
Uh-huh.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. It's the science behind it, it's stupid. Like they could just talk underwater. There's no even they don't even like try to be scientific about anything.
I have something that drove me crazy.
What?
So the Atlanteans,
Yes.
they all speak English, perfect English, and their written language is fucking English.
Right.
It drove me crazy.
Yeah, they
didn't even make an attempt. Like you watch like Black Panther, and
But is it because though that the bar is so low for DC movies right now that's something that could be overlooked?
Yeah, well, here's what I'll say.
Totally. It didn't completely ruin the experience, but I just thought it was hilarious.
Here's what I'll say about Aquaman. It's dumb, makes no sense, it's stupid, and it's a lot of fun.
But it was a Fetch Quest movie, and I miss Fetch Quest movies.
It was a Fetch Quest movie. It was like 9 movies in once. It was like Indiana Jones, Star Wars, a superhero origin movie. It was like every kind of big blockbuster movie in one movie. Here's the flaw in it. The 11-year-old in me thinks this is the greatest movie I might have ever seen. It's like
You have an 11-year-old in you?
I have 11-year-olds. No, let's not. Don't quote me.
That will be illegal, sir.
But what I'm saying is that like if this movie is made for little kids. It's made for 14 and under is what it is. Now, here's the problem. The running time of Aquaman is 2.5 hours.
Way too long.
So it's too long for the audience it's intended for. It's intended for, I believe, a younger audience. But if you can put yourself in the mindset of being, in your younger version of yourself, you're going to have a great time. Honestly, I had fun. Is it a good movie? No. Is it a fun movie? Yes. So there's no spoilers there, and you can enjoy it on Christmas Day. That's great.
I have zero expectations, and I think it's not just with DC movies. I think with most comic movies at this point, I feel like the bar is pretty low.
Right.
Having seen Venom last week, I'm not going to lie, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was dumb, but it was enjoyable enough.
I loved it because it was dumb.
Yeah, I mean, so the bar's low, and for Aquaman, here's the thing: if DC is shooting for a younger audience, this is actually kind of their first time ever doing that.
Yeah, because Batman v Superman, I don't know who that movie's for. You know what I mean?
I have no idea either.
It's like, it's dark. It's just, it tries to be adult, but it's also kind of stupid. So
I find it really boring and hard to watch.
Right.
It just, not a lot happens.
Yeah. Well, look, Aquaman is it's a step in the right direction for sure.
And from what I've seen of some of the new Wonder Woman, the bright colors, the 80s.
Right.
Maybe DC's just trying so hard now to not be the grim, dark, or every character needs to be dark kind of a thing.
All they need is one good movie. And a Wonder Woman was the closest. And Justice League actually also was it. I really feel like the tone is more Justice League for Aquaman.
Oh yeah. And arguably, I think that Justice League and Aquaman are a more enjoyable experience for me than Wonder Woman.
Right. Let's talk about a couple other movies opening on Christmas Day, On the Basis of Sex, which it's not necessarily a biopic of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but it is the story of the first case that she takes on with her husband. It's how she really made a name for herself. And it's about, it's a case that she fought in the early 70s. And it's what's weird is it's about taxes and it's about sexism, but towards a man. But this guy wanted to take a tax exemption because he was taking care of his sick mother. This is true. We actually have an interview with the screenwriter who is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's nephew, and that will be running in a future edition of the Film Threat podcast. I had the opportunity to interview the screenwriter, but Felicity Jones is fantastic. It covers a lot of ground. And in terms of just her early career in college, and then it's about this court case. So courtroom drama is already a good bet for like a film to see. But she's fantastic. The movie is history that I didn't know.
And I heard there were some like really interesting things about that film.
Really interesting. So
like the fact that even though she was this pretty high-powered attorney for a while anyway.
Well, she's a college professor, but she can practice law, but no one wants to hire her because she's a woman. So it's a fascinating story. To me, you know what? If you have a choice between two superhero movies on Christmas Day, go see On the Basis of Sex, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a real-life superhero.
What about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
I did not see it. I did not see it.
I haven't seen that one yet either.
Okay, so non-spoiler review, Anthony Ray Bench.
Okay, first of all, I loved it. but the soundtrack was super obnoxious. Like the first thing you hear from this movie is just this weird like dubstep like hip hop thing, and I don't mind hip hop. Hip hop's awesome, but this is just trash. It's like this electronic, like it's awful, and this kind of music plays throughout the entire movie, and it's really distracting. But it's such a fun movie. I would say it's probably my second favorite Spider-Man movie.
Like the two things I've heard about that movie were, and it's really been only one of two things. Either people say it's overrated, or they say that it's like the best animated film they've ever seen.
The animation is gorgeous and stylistic and just really, really unique. I mean, you can see like in some shots, a lot of shots, the little comic book dots that old comic books used to have.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It has one of the most awesome post-credit scenes ever, and a really cool Stan Lee cameo, and we haven't got a chance to talk about Stan Lee.
Yeah, I mean, the passing of Stan Lee, I mean, we're all at this table Marvel fans.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's a legend, an icon.
He's kind of the reason why we're here.
Yeah, the reason we're friends is because Stan Lee invented these characters, these Marvel characters.
Well, me and Dante are friends. We both
really?
kind of hate you.
Great. Well, look, I want to see Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, during the holidays is when I kind of catch up on my movie going. But I've actually been going to a lot of awards consideration screenings, seen a lot of films. One film I saw that I highly recommend, and this is in contention in award season, is the movie Green Book with Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali from Moonlight. It's the real story of Dr. Don Shirley, who was a wildly talented pianist, musician in the 50s and 60s. I mean, he played at the White House, right? And he's looking for a driver to take him through the South because he purposely wanted to play places like Birmingham, Alabama, Kentucky, and Dr. Don Shirley is black. And, you know, people were racist back then. I mean, the good thing is all racism is solved. No one's racist anymore. And everything's perfect and we all love each other.
Especially in the South.
Everyone's nice to each other.
Yeah.
So this is a glimpse into our past history. Well, we all know that's not true. But it's a fascinating true story of this. Basically, he's kind of I don't want to say he's a mobster, but Viggo Mortensen plays a guy, Tony Lip, who is he's a heavy, right? Mm-hmm. He's basically a bouncer at this club,
like a bodyguard
in a way. So he's kind of his bodyguard who takes care of him. And I don't know. I'd like to welcome to the podcast someone who's a longtime friend of mine who saw Green Book with me at the screening, who also works on some of the YouTube content that we've seen. And you haven't heard his name. Anthony Miele is a friend of mine. He's currently reading his phone at the moment. But he and I saw Green Book together, and Anthony might have some comments about Green Book. Anthony, welcome to the Film Threat Podcast, Anthony Miele. Now, Anthony, you and I saw Green Book together.
Yes,
what were your thoughts on it? And you are your family's Italian.
Yes.
Tony Lip is Italian.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
It was, the holiday scenes were very much like my family scenes. It was very funny.
They serve. Wait, Italians have fish?
Lots of criminals. Lots of things like that.
Lots of fish on.
Lots of fish
on
yes.
Christmas.
No, of course not. I don't know.
That's bizarre. Okay, well, so tell me your thoughts on Green Book. I really loved it.
It's terrific. It's easily. I think it's probably going to win Best Picture because it's also a feel good movie. The people in it are terrific. I think the big controversy is which one's going to win Best Actor between
Mahershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Because I have no idea what their names were. So.
Right. Well, you yeah. But like, so I thought that was one of the better. It's definitely in my top 5 of maybe winning Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to get a nomination. I think it's not going to have any technical nominations, so it won't lead.
Right.
Like First Man will, or
First Man's going to get all the technical sound.
And it's going to win all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
But those two are so terrific. especially Viggo Mortensen. God, he's just unbelievable.
Well, we should talk about another film that I believe will also be nominated for Best Picture, and it's already gotten a lot of Critics' Choice Awards nominations, which I will be at the Critics' Choice Awards on January 13th. It airs on, I believe, TBS. I don't know who the host is yet, but you know who they should get to host it? Kevin Hart. I think he'd be a great host for the Critics' Choice Awards. But I believe that Blackkklansman is going to get nominated for Best Picture. Dante, you and I went to an event where we got to talk to Spike Lee for, I don't know, maybe a minute. But your thoughts on Blackkklansman, which I also think is going to be in contention for Best Picture.
Yeah, no, I kind of knew going in, not being biased, that I was probably going to like it just because of the content.
Right.
But it actually just surprised me as far as how well the story was told. I wasn't sure how it was going to end or how where exactly they were going with it, but the way that it did end, I don't know if that really happened, because that ending was pretty shocking.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little license played with the story, but it is based on a true story of this guy. What was his name? Ron. I forget the detective's name. He was the first black detective.
Right.
Colorado Police Department. And they basically gave him a lame desk job until he just called up
and I was
randomly the KKK to go undercover and infiltrate the organization. And Adam Driver plays a detective who ends up being sort of the face of him, and then he's the voice. Topher Grace plays David Duke in it.
And he's amazing.
And what's weird about it is I mean, there's some dark stuff that happens with the Klan, and there are suspenseful moments where just some horrible things could happen, but it's also really funny.
Yeah.
It was shockingly funny.
I thought it was an amazing movie.
It's Spike Lee's best work,
in years. At least in years.
And I love Spike because Spike he's a provocateur. I think before it was maybe trendy to be that, and I just grew up watching his movies. Do
the Right Thing. She's Got to Have It. School Days. I mean, he's never shied away.
Mars Blackman. I mean, I love that character.
Name a movie within the last 20 years.
Well, see, that's the thing.
But we're talking about controversial Spike.
Yes.
Right.
Spike hasn't been controversial for a while, so.
Yeah, but I really think Blackkklansman. I mean, it's a true story. It's funny. It's there's a moment at the end. You know which moment I'm talking about, where is it Sidney Poitier is telling a story.
Yeah.
He's telling a story, and how powerful that moment is. It's really unexpected moment in the film. It sort of breaks away from the story for a minute to kind of just talk about and kind of tie in things that are happening now with what happened then, and it's incredibly powerful.
Going along with that,
Yeah.
there was a little problem I did have with that part. I just felt like
It's a little heavy-handed.
it got a little Oliver Stone-ish for me towards the end, where it just we got the point.
Right,
we don't
right.
need it driven into us. It's like we get it.
Right.
The Klan is bad.
Yeah.
Racism still exists today. Like we get it. So we didn't need that whole thing at the end, again, the movie was great, so I'm not going to take away from that.
Yeah.
I just didn't care for that part.
But I think it's, I don't know, Spike tends to do a lot of things that are creative in the way that he tells the stories.
Sure.
And there are just a lot of great moments. It's like, oh, wow, Spike is back. So I really hope that he gets Best Director nomination. I hope that Blackkklansman is in that. I don't know. It's just going to be tough, I think, for Best Picture this year. What else, Anthony? We saw a couple other films together, First Man being among them. But what else have you seen that you think is in contention? There was Cold War, which I saw with a buddy of mine, Walter Arias.
Brothers, sisters.
No.
Just popped into my head.
It's not.
What is it called? I can't think of the name of it.
The Sisters Brothers.
That's it. I couldn't think of the name of it.
Yeah, The Sisters Brothers is a movie you and I saw
Brilliant.
together.
Brilliant.
John C. Reilly is in it.
Also
Joaquin Phoenix.
Also will get a Best Picture nomination easily.
You think so? I don't know. I think it's too weird.
The only problem is nobody
weird.
saw it and nobody cared.
That's the
It's
problem.
certainly not a Western year, but it's terrific.
Yeah.
If anyone goes to see it, it's brilliant.
Yeah, Walter here was also part of the Film Threat team. You don't see Walter's name on the Film Threat website because Walter actually works on the YouTube channel. But Walter is Walter works on our YouTube channel. He's working on the Film Threat website on some technical things, which are really boring to talk about in a podcast.
Yeah, very boring.
But Walter occasionally.
I'm a very boring guy.
No, you're not. No, you were on the episode when we talked about
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. You talked about that.
And Wonder Woman, was I on?
And Wonder Woman, you sort of wove yourself into that. Yeah, you got to.
Oh, got it.
Yes, for those members of the Film Threat team that aren't on the podcast often, hold the mic up to. Be loud like I'm too loud. I'm always too loud.
Holy shit! Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I know. My voice. I know. My apologies, but
I'm sure I have permanent hearing loss
from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not from those metal albums that you listen to. Yeah. But yeah, Walter, you've accompanied me on a couple of screenings, and Cold War was one that I think you and I both liked. It's oddly, it's a Polish film put out by Amazon Studios. Mm-hmm. I believe it'll be the Polish.
The submission for
Poland's
the Oscars.
entry for best foreign, and it's 80. Here's what I love about this movie. When we went and saw the screening, it's 85 minutes.
Wow, that is like the perfect time for a movie.
Yes.
I really think it ought to be illegal to be making these movies 2.5 hours
Seriously.
every time. Why is a Marvel movie 3 hours long? Excuse me, Marvel fans.
I'll excuse it for like Infinity War. But
there is no reason to make any movie over 2 hours. I'm sorry.
And I hear Captain Marvel will be 4 hours. So there you go. But Cold War was one that it's a tragic romance set against the Cold War.
The Cold War,
and it's black and white, and I thought it was incredible.
It's not the typical movie I would go see in a theater. I will admit that.
True.
Very slightly artsy.
Yeah.
But the story behind it, it has a lot of heart, and it has a lot of it. I'm not going to spoil it, so I don't really want to talk about the ending too much.
Right.
But it really does have a big impact.
Here's something also. Who here has seen Roma? Any you guys seen? Okay, I've seen Roma twice in the theater. It's on Netflix now. Roma as Alfonso Cuarón's. He directed it. It's kind of the story of his life. It's the story of him, not a story of his life. It's a story of when he grew up. And he grew up outside of Mexico City. This is shot in 65 millimeter. It's black and white. It stars no major actors of note. In fact, the main woman, who is a maid to this family, which was Alfonso Cuarón's family, her name is Cleo, and Cleo is the maid. She was a non-actress. Had no acting experience at all, and did this movie. I've seen it twice now. It's slow. It's just filled with humanity, and it's tragic. And it's also something that it's unfortunate that most people are going to see Roma on Netflix, but it's a beautiful film. I don't want to ruin anything for anyone listening or for anyone in this room, since none of you have seen it, but I highly recommend checking it out. I think that Netflix has put a lot of support behind it in terms of an awards campaign, so I think it's likely that it'll get nominated. I just don't know if it's going to get Best Picture.
Is it subtitled?
It's subtitled. So
you've literally black and white, 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
No one's going to see this.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I mean,
this has been the
problem with the Oscars. This has been the problem with the Oscars is they nominate films in the major categories that no one sees because they're small movies or social issue movies, or you know what I mean? Which championing those movies is important, but that's not the breadth of someone's movie viewing throughout the year.
Well, that's interesting. So, since you're a fan of all these awful comic book movies, were you pro or against that?
I didn't say I loved
that 5 minute time where they had the popular category, whatever it was, they added to the Oscars.
I didn't care. I thought it was a bad idea.
I mean, that was
kind of a cop out.
That was for people like you who get pissed.
People like me. Look, here's the thing. I
get pissed that Aquaman didn't get a Best Picture nomination.
Right. No, Aquaman should never be. It's not getting nominated in anything. I'm just saying I like both kinds. It's sort of like, look, I like McDonald's and I also like steak at Fleming's. You know what I mean? Like, you can like both things. I like garbage drunk fast food at White Castle, at the end of the night, but I also like a good steak at a good steakhouse. I mean, it's
sometimes you like craft beer, sometimes you want
No, but I mean the idea
ribbon.
but the idea
or
of doing
Coors
that,
Light.
Or Coors Light.
Right,
Sure.
yeah.
The idea of doing that was the numbers for the Oscars have been going down every year, and they're trying to get more people to watch it. So they thought the magic pill was, let's give Aquaman a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah, that's
No,
never,
I think
not gonna happen.
purist-
I think the
that you
argument
are.
was more for Dark Knight, not for
Of course.
Aquaman.
Dark Knight was the one that,
obviously,
like-
But
use
Dark Knight
Aquaman
kind of
as an
warranted
example,
a
but
nomination,
yes.
though.
Dark Knight crossed over into
And that was a terrific movie too, and that one would have earned it.
Right.
But
Well, let's talk about Black Panther, which is I believe.
Before we do that, though, I'd like
Yes.
to just talk about Creed 2 for a second.
Oh yeah,
'cause,
see, I have not seen Creed.
I just
This is
finished
great. We
watching
have all these
Friday
people who
Night
haven't
Lights,
seen-
so now
Yeah.
I know who Michael B. Jordan is.
I'm a big fan. I thought Creed 2, to me, it lived up to the expectations of the first movie.
I liked it better than the first movie.
I did too. The first movie was great. I feel like this one, though, everyone was just amazing in it, man. Dolph Lundgren and Florian Montagu, who's the son of Ivan Drago. You're going into this movie thinking, okay, they're going to be the cardboard villains that we need to hate. And
like
no,
they were in part 4.
Yeah, but no, you totally feel for both of them. Like you sympathize with them, you know, along with also cheering for Adonis Creed to beat him.
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite in that fight.
Yeah,
It really
that
is.
was a surprise.
Yeah, and I really like how the ending tied back to, kind of some of the things that Rocky Balboa regrets. I thought that was really, really clever.
Well, I definitely, it's on my list to see. I have not seen Creed 2 yet. And it was, in fact, actually, Walter and I we tried to get to a screening of it, and it was sold. It was packed.
Yeah.
We could not get in. That's how. So I know I'll catch up over the holidays, but Black Panther, Marvel's like straight up just saying, we want to get this nominated for Best Picture. I'm just curious what you think the chances are.
I don't. I love I love the movie.
Yeah. I mean,
Like-
that movie's so influential because, yes, please quiet your cell phones. This is it's a whatever. This
You know,
is
if you
this
just
is like
didn't say
the
anything, you
Films
could have
Christmas
chopped it
party.
out. You don't gotta
No, it
branch
doesn't
it out.
matter. Who cares? This is look. We're having fun at the Film Threat party while I'm forcing you guys to do a podcast. But I feel that movie, I think Black Panther did kind of what Aquaman wanted to do, which is create this whole separate world, right? Black Panther did it so well with Wakanda, like seems like a real place. Like it's based on, there's actually an article on the Film Threat website written by Andy Howell, one of our contributors, who did a whole thing about the science of Black Panther, talking about everything about like hidden cities that have science that goes beyond, other societies that they're surrounded by. Like he went through that, like this is all, everything that you see in Black Panther, yes, it's not real, but it's based on something that's and the fact that it pays such great tribute to African culture, the art, and just like everything about it, the music, I just think there's going to be a generation of kids. I think teachers are going to be driven crazy where they're going to have so many kids named T'Challa in class. They're going to have T'Challas, and then they'll also be surrounded by Killmongers. That'd be
amazing.
Can you imagine name your kid Killmonger? That's kind of like, but yeah. So
But with
what
that
are your
said,
thoughts?
I don't know if I would put it as Oscar worthy. I like the movie a lot, loved it. But again, it's one of those things where I don't even think it fits at the Oscars. As far as a best,
they have like 9
a best movie, not
yeah.
best special effects, sure. Best soundtrack,
Costume,
definitely. Costumes, absolutely.
Music.
It seemed like that category they were going to add was specifically for Black Panther.
Yeah.
That they wanted to get that movie an Oscar nomination, so we're gonna put a new category in because it made so much money.
And I think calling it an Oscar-worthy movie is kind of pushing it a little bit. And this is coming from a huge fan of the film.
Well, I just hope it gets nominated just to disrupt the Oscars.
It'll anger a lot of people in the South.
Good, I want it to. So yeah, well, I mean, like as we were talking about like Green Book earlier, like that's a movie that you were saying you were going to take your racist dad to go see
Take
it.
my racist dad and my racist uncle. I definitely think wouldn't realize what they're seeing. They wouldn't realize that this is them on the screen there.
Right. They would say, "Oh yeah, those guys
making fun of the black guys and using all the other lingo, which I won't use because I'm not like that."
Yeah, but I mean, that's a movie that I think will be in contention towards the end. I also want to welcome to the podcast someone that none of us would be here without this guy, because
I would be here without him.
Well, no, but
I drove myself.
But Alan Ng is the managing editor of Film Thread. Goes unappreciated. But I want you all to know that the reason the trains run on time, the reason that there are 5 reviews on the Film Threat website every day, is because of this guy who manages all of the writers, all the insane number of movies that come in to get reviewed on Film Thread.
And for the handsome fellows out there sporting a brilliant new beard.
I know,
Look at
this
this.
is a beautiful beard.
Alan Ng, welcome to the
you got to
podcast.
put video on this.
Yeah.
And you speak about running the trains. That's why I'm late.
Oh no! Don't worry about it. Like I posted my Aquaman review before I got here. Yeah,
I just saw that.
Yeah, so I'm glad it's there. But Alan, we're talking about best films we've seen this year.
Yes.
This is the Film Thread holiday party. We're talking about everything that you've seen and what you think maybe be in awards consideration. And look, there are a lot of awards. We've got our Golden Globes, we've got the Critics' Choice Awards, we've got the Oscars. I think these award movies definitely sort of run the gamut. But what have you seen that you think is going to get nominated? And I should mention that you saw Mary Poppins Returns.
Yes, I did see Mary Poppins Returns.
And
It's brilliant, I hear, right?
You know,
hear what you think of it.
I'll sum this one up. It's not my choice, but if you like the original Mary Poppins, but hated the music in it, you're gonna love Mary Poppins Returns.
Oh, no, that's not an endorsement. Well, I saw it as well, and I think you and I had the exact same comments. Lin-Manuel Miranda, he does a terrible accent.
But that's in the tradition of that role.
I guess.
Yeah, but there was a charm when Dick Van Dyke did it.
I mean, I think he had a charm. I mean, I think I liked the story and everything, but the music much.
This is a
much
sequel,
better than
right?
you did. That sequel.
Yeah.
It's just the music was, it was just
forgettable.
It was talky. It was so many words. I think the Sherman Brothers used a third less words in all their songs.
Right.
And I remember sitting there with my daughter saying, "When is the song going to end so we can get back to the story?"
Right.
I mean, I think there was only one good song. It was the Lamplighter song that that I liked with the the 1930s BMX bikes doing their little stunts there.
Yeah.
Was it an original story, or was it based on one of the sequel books?
It's what they did was they took the rest of the books, and pick and chose stories from it. So these are all stories from that P.L. Travers wrote.
Well, I love that theory that Mary Poppins went to Hogwarts. She's basically a wizard, but I mean she could be a Jedi. I thought that I think Emily Blunt did a great performance.
Yes.
She's amazing, and she was incredible in A Quiet
And
Place.
she made it her own too. Mary Poppins.
She didn't try to do an imitation of Julie Andrews. She did her own take on it. She's the best part of the movie, and everything else I just didn't
I think
care.
what you guys are missing is the fact that they're singing in it, which makes every movie terrible. So
I disagree, but
no.
Okay, well,
No.
we clearly disagree.
Yes.
Right. What else have you seen, Alan, that
so-
you think, now that you're here to share your wisdom?
Yeah,
Because
I
I'll
called-
say, if you read the Film Threat website on a regular basis, Alan's name pops up probably every other day.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to review the ones that get considered for Oscars.
Right. Yeah, as much as you'd like anyway.
The man who runs it is low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that the one that I called a few months ago that I don't think is going to happen, but I really like Widows. I like
Oh
a
wow!
whole
Yeah,
lot.
I have not seen it, but you keep
Yeah.
hitting me with that one, Widows. Why? It's basically it's like Ocean's 11.
Yeah. Well, you know what it
with
is?
an all-female cast.
If you read the synopsis, you're going to think it's a really horrible movie. It's going to be this bad comedy, but it's a straight-up thriller drama about, about these wives whose husbands are part of a heist, and they all get killed during the heist. And then all the repercussions of the job gone bad comes back on these widows who have to team together. And even that makes it sound really bad. But
Yeah, what you said makes me not want to ever
I
see
know.
this movie.
But in terms of the story, the acting, the heist is really a small part of the movie.
You're turning me off even more.
Yeah,
The heist is always the best part of these movies.
right. But it's more of like a gangster type movie, and getting these normal women involved in this world and having to to pull off this heist, and they're not like women who all of a sudden get superpowers and are able to pull off a heist. These are normal women. They're the ones who have to do cardio training in order to carry $1 million in a satchel on their back, because that's pretty heavy.
I think I would need cardio training for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And then there's a whole political end that no one talks about between Colin Farrell's character and the I forget the other actors. I saw this like several months ago.
Well, I you're not the only person I've heard that from, that Widows really deserves recognition. I just think it's a crowded field right now, and it's so funny how you see movies
the
like
most
Rise.
cliched thing ever when talking about Best Pictures. It's
It's a crowded, but it's true. It's true.
Every year it's true.
It's because there's so many campaigns mounted. There's things that sort of fall off, and then there's movies that kind of are surprises. I think A Star Is Born. I think, and then there's movies that cancel each other out. I saw A Star Is Born. I saw it twice. Bradley Cooper is great. Lady Gaga is the best part of the movie. I didn't 100% love the film, and it has to do with the ending, and I don't want to talk about what happens because it's a big spoiler. But the ending made it not work for me.
You know the ending's coming. I mean, I went in not being surprised, but I also went in seeing a really good movie.
Having seen 0 incarnations of A Star Is Born, I do not know what the ending is in any of them. So
yeah, well, I mean, it kind of.
No, we're not going to ruin it.
Yeah, but you'll kind of figure it out as it goes on.
Well, there's interesting, on second viewing, there's a specific shot that gives away exactly what's going to happen at the end, and it's near the very beginning of the movie.
Oh, really?
It's surprising as hell.
Okay, I missed that one then.
Yeah, no, but if you watch it a second time, there is a shot that projects exactly what's going to happen. It's strange. But what else have you seen, Alan? And I want to make sure to get Dante in here and Anthony Ray Bench. And well, actually, Anthony and Anthony are sharing a mic, so that's interesting.
Do the one you love, the Asian comedy.
Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. I mean,
not an Oscar contender.
No, not at all. It's a rom-com, which kind of right there takes it out of Oscar contention.
It's a dumb rom-com that is
done well.
super fun.
Yeah.
Really well done. The fact that it's set in Singapore, that alone, just because culturally speaking, like Singapore has its own sort of mishmash language. It's sort of mixing English and a little Mandarin, and it's there's certain Singapore specific words. I went down a rabbit hole on YouTube just watching videos about that. But
it's also on replay at my home.
Oh, is it?
My daughter and wife are watching it a lot.
You know what? It's innocuous fun. I loved it. I think the spectacle. I think my favorite part of the movie is not. I think Constance Wu is just. She's your typical lead, so she's just she's in the Luke Skywalker role basically. She's just sort of vanilla, but Awkwafina I love, man. She is funny. Like you got to watch just look on YouTube of videos of Awkwafina. Before she really put everything into being an actress. Her comedy videos are hysterical, but she's my favorite part of the film. And
one thing I'll say about it is the ending I thought was really smart.
I thought the ending was because it culturally fit into tied into the relationship of the mother, and that I thought
it
was
made
really well done.
It made the good feelings that throughout the rest of the film make sense.
Yeah, there's conflict, but it is a typical. We talked about this. Yeah. It's a typical rom-com. It's just that there's like no white.
Got a lot of Asians.
There's no white people in this movie. I mean, are there? I don't even remember.
At the beginning, the ones that tried to kick them out of the hotel.
That's
evil
right.
Racist white people.
Yes, exactly. Wow.
Why are evil racists always white? I don't understand that. Why do they always got to be white?
It's because we run everything. I don't know. Like
whites are just awful people. Just awful.
It's that privilege you guys have.
It's that new.
I want that privilege.
In case you guys don't know, Alan's Asian.
Alan.
Why are we constantly calling that out?
But he's sporting a very manly cowboy beard.
Yes, I've been accused of being white thanks to this beard.
Really? Wow. Yeah. But I know
it is. It's my beard of privilege.
It's definitely a standout. I just don't know that it's going to get.
No, it's not.
But it might get like
costume.
Song or music, costume, things like that. Like little.
Well, it won't get music.
I would assume costume would be something because I think they want to give it something because it was so successful.
Well, I mean,
as the gambler, I think it'll probably get something like that.
I mean, if they give it something, it'll probably be Best Actress of Constance, which I don't think will happen, and maybe supporting to Aquafina.
I would love to see supporting for Aquafina, just to see her like do the sort of awards circuit, because I just think that she's awesome.
I can see a movie like Crazy Rich Asians and even Black Panther doing well, like Golden Globe wise.
Right.
I just think for Oscars, it's not going to happen.
But see, the Golden Globes is, in terms of award shows, the Golden Globes is the best show.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree with that.
Bar none. It's fun. There's less pressure. They sort of. They spread the love around in terms of just like awards. Like they have more mainstream categories, so mainstream movies can get nominations.
I mean, it's because they separate musical and comedy, so you can nominate films that aren't that great. But if you want to give them an award and get people to show up, that's why they do it. And it's smart. It's very smart.
I think with Crazy Rich Asians, I think that like let's hope that this is not like. I mean, they've already announced the sequel. Right, that
they're doing back to back.
They're actually doing two sequels. Yeah, back to back. I hope it's like Crazy Rich Asian Bachelor Party. Or
the last one will be
Wedding.
Crazy Bankrupt Asian.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Saner Bankrupt. Yeah.
But I hope that this is not like the last sort of mainstream foray.
Well, I mean, so far what I'm seeing is, I think behind the scenes we're seeing a lot of Asians getting their due. A lot of more Asian directors are getting opportunities, Asian writers. It's in front of the camera that I'm not necessarily seeing much of a change.
Well, but it's. I just think that like, first of all, it's amazing that this thing was a hit.
Yeah.
I mean that, but I also feel
well, there's a lot of us.
But yes, no. Well, for sure. But
half the world's population.
But here's my point: is that what I don't disagree with this. I would just like to add a fact to people pointing out that like finally Asians in a film at the movie theater. It's like yes. I have been watching Japanese films from South Korea, like since I was a kid, right? There's a I don't know if the app is still around now, Asian Crush, and there's like a lot of different apps where you can watch these movies, and we just actually posted a trailer on the Film Threat YouTube channel called Dee Dee's Dream, which I'm dying to watch. I got the screener for it. I'm going to be watching it. It's a film from South Korea about sisters that one's like this beautiful model actress, the other one's a TV host, and she tries to be an actress, and they're rivals. Right. And it looks, just from the trailer, hysterical. But the thing is this, I seek out those movies and watch those. I watch foreign films, right? And I just wonder, at least I do believe that, the studios in the United States put some effort into having diversity in their casts. Unfortunately, not so much for the leads. Yeah, I just think that you're lazy as a moviegoer, as an audience member, if you don't seek out movies outside of your country, right? Like, I just think that's lazy. So I've grown up watching foreign films. So it's like, oh yes, I guess so please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, let me correct you for a second.
Please, thank you.
Well, I mean, Constance brought this out on a Twitter post she had, and it really resonated with me. But it's not necessarily, Asian films, Asian foreign films, but it's the fact that there's a huge community of actors, artists, directors, writers in Hollywood that are not getting hired.
Right.
It's the Asian American. This Crazy Rich Asians is an Asian American film versus an Asian film. Because for a long time, when an Asian would appear in a movie, in a mainstream movie, it was always an import. Jackie Chan, Michelle Yeoh, they were not, they were international stars,
right?
As opposed to a studio taking a chance on a local star, an American star, and that's kind of like, giving, there's that community there that needs that chance. And we'll see. The thing that bothers me the most about a lot of films today is, these diversity teams. And it happened in Jurassic World.
Jurassic World, when they had the...
They had the helpers. They had the African-American helper. They had the Latino. But there's no Asian in it.
Right.
In that team there. And we seem to be getting left out a lot when we talk about diversity.
So you're basically asking for more tokenism?
Or just call it what it is. No. What I'm tokenism, I'm not for. What I'm for is just, if you're going to say diversity, that we're being diverse, then be diverse. Otherwise, don't say it.
Yeah. Well,
just cast whoever you want.
As a big dumb white guy, I'm against everything you just said.
Well, I mean, Dante, you actually wrote an article about gay characters sort of being like. You had a really good an article where you talked about gay characters in movies.
Yeah,
and how they're used.
Yeah, it's I forgot what the term I used for it. Yeah, it's queer baiting basically. Again, when you're talking about diversity, it's when you cast someone of color, it's easy to see that person is of color.
Right.
So they've obviously casted, a person of color. When you have a character that you're claiming is gay, but. And I'm not saying, again, the gay person in the film doesn't have to be like this flamboyant, Will and Grace type character where it's like, oh yeah, there's a gay guy because he has pink ribbons around his
right.
waist. It's like, no, but you got to do something to, if you're going to make the claim that this is a gay character, there has to be some kind of, inclination that he is gay or she is gay. Otherwise, why even bring it up, right? Because if you bring it up, that means you're trying to pull in a certain audience.
Right.
Right? But you're doing nothing to clarify this person is really gay.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Well, what I disagree with is the off-screen mentioning this character's gay, or we thought about making this character gay, like they did with Dumbledore after the Harry Potter movies. Like it's like, oh come on, I feel like you're pandering. Just have a gay character. But you don't need to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like it is pandering to that audience.
I know
it's a bit irritating. So.
Dante and I have talked about this. It's the thing of, turning someone gay versus just creating a gay character.
Right. Also, I don't even see how relevant I feel like, when we actually applied to our Sundance credentials. We had to put what our gender was, our ethnicity, and our sexual orientation. And I know Norm Gidney, who has been on the Film Threat podcast several times, he is gay, and he was offended by that question. Also, we have, 4 or 5 women that write for the Film Threat podcast. I actually don't know what their sexual orientation is, only because I think it would be rude if I asked them. And
it's completely irrelevant.
Well, they're
apparently it's not irrelevant to Sundance.
Well, their inclusion on Film Threat has to do with their writing skill, not their sexual orientation. I also feel that the only person it should matter to, because it's not even something it should matter only to the person you get naked with. Because if you get naked with someone, you're like, oh, I'm not into penis. I just not into penises. I'm more of a vagina guy, I feel like that's I don't know. I just feel there's I feel like
well, that should have been addressed before you got naked.
Exactly,
right?
Of course. But this is what I'm saying is that I'm glad we're talking about things. We may be talking about things too much, where it's like it's sort of like talking about having fun rather than just having fun. And on that note, I want to go around the horn and get everybody's get your favorite movie for the year, and we're going to talk about that because we're going to do a best of the year special in 2019. But since this is our holiday special, this is sort of a preview of that. What do you guys think? We're starting with Alan, and we'll go around the horn here.
First. Well, yes. Clearly it's Avengers: Infinity War.
Really?
That's my favorite movie of the year. It's the one that I go back to and watch over and over again.
Oh wow, that's a good. It will not get nominated for best picture.
It will not get nominated.
What an awful choice for your.
Yeah. I mean, favorite. I mean, I love films for different reasons. Different films for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it comes down to when am I going to sit down and want to watch?
Mm-hmm.
When I look at the thousands of options that are placed in front of me thanks to Hulu, Netflix, and Vudu.
Right.
It's going to be Infinity War from this year.
Bring me Thanos.
All right, Dante James, what's your pick?
I am a little torn between also Infinity War and actually Black Panther, which isn't a big surprise. But
so it's a tie, is what you're saying?
It's kind of a tie.
that's a good pick. Great, Anthony Ray Bench.
I guess the three of us are a bunch of fucking nerds.
Oh no!
I went first.
I'm a big fan of Thanos, and they nailed it. I think it's the best villain I've seen in a long, long time. If I had to pick a second option, because you guys already picked it, I would say Hereditary.
Oh, wow, yes.
I love that movie. It's the first movie that really kind of scared me in a long, long time.
All right, Walter, what do you think? Because you're making a cameo on this episode.
Sure. I guess I'll get a little fancy on you guys and go with Stan and Ollie.
Oh, wow, Stan and Ollie with John C. Reilly.
I'll preface this by saying I was not a fan of Laurel and Hardy. I just never. I've heard of them. I've heard of them. I've never really watched any of their movies or any of their shorts. But watching that movie, it kind of reminded me of like lost love and lost friendship. Right. So I think it really is about these two people that have gone their separate ways and are coming back and rediscovering each other, rediscovering this lost friendship. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something I personally relate to. And I felt that it told a very human story with the backdrop of, these two very famous characters. And so I really liked it.
That comes highly recommended. Anthony Miele, what's your pick?
Well, my pick is Raiders of the Lost Ark. I loved Raiders. You mean in the movie?
Year,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's
a lot.
I really love Green Mile. I mean,
you talk about Green Book.
Green Book. I really love Green Book.
And there's no superheroes in Green Book.
No superheroes, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But First Man is also really brilliant. And the ending of First Man is so good because it's not this rah-rah, which is sort of what you expect from a NASA movie.
Right.
And, of course, Ryan Gosling, the most annoying, talented man on the planet.
Yeah.
Is brilliant. Hopefully he gets an Oscar nomination.
I think we can all confidently say that we all have crushes on Ryan Gosling.
It's unfair how talented he is.
He's a good-looking man.
Yeah.
Good-looking man.
He's so talented. He's so great in that character because he's, the character is supposed to be a robot, but he plays it brilliantly. That's just sort of how he was, and it's a great film. And unfortunately, Green Book's better.
Great. I would have to say, Alan, you took my mainstream pick because Infinity War is a film that I've enjoyed several times, on Blu-ray, like since it was released. But there's a movie I would put out, I would say just as a recommendation that I think you'd see. One, Vice. Vice, I'm dying to see it again. I've only seen it once. That also opens on Christmas Day. Christian Bale is incredible as Dick Cheney. It's the way that the story is told is just bizarre. It's Adam McKay, who actually, oddly enough, worked on Ant-Man. On the screenplay. Also, he directed a film called The Big Short. He did a movie called The Other Guys, that if you have not seen The Other Guys, there's an end credit sequence on The Other Guys that's just incredible. That it's because it's all about, it's sort of like, it's a buddy action cop movie, but it really is about the financial crisis of like 2008, 2009, like that era. It's fantastic. The Other Guys. Vice is incredible. The other movie, this is one that not a lot of people have spoken about, but it's a movie called The Rider, and it's a female Chinese director whose name escapes me. My apologies, but I met her briefly after a screening of it. That film is about guys who are a guy who's he's in the rodeo and rides the wild stallions, and it stars all non-actors. Real people. I mean, the opening scene is you see his head is cut open. He has these staples in his head. It's not makeup. It's clearly real. And she follows him through his real life story. It's The Rider from Sony Pictures Classics. But Vice also is one I would highly recommend. And technically, while it doesn't have superheroes in it, it does have Christian Bale, who was the best Batman in my opinion. So I kind of get a freebie on that one. I want to thank you guys, everyone here, just thank you listeners for listening to the Film Threat podcast the last year. We haven't done movie reviews like we normally do. I think we'll be getting back to doing ping-ponging, doing a little bit of that, along with more interviews coming up that I'm excited. We will be at the Sundance Film Festival doing a daily podcast from Sundance, along with more interviews there. We're also going to South by Southwest, Tribeca. Support Film Threat just by following us on social media and reading the website. And you can send me a note. I'm that Chris Gore on everything. And I just want to say happy holidays to everyone listening. Happy holidays from the Film Threat Misfit family. Thank you so much for listening. Here's to a great new year in 2019. Thanks.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.